What if everything you've ever been taught about money, get a good job, save up, put it in a 401k, is actually a trap? That is the seriously provocative idea at the heart of the book, Why We Want You to Be Rich, written by two people you'd never expect to team up, Donald Trump and Robert Kiyosaki. Their whole point is that the rules of money have completely changed, and if you don't learn the new ones, you're going to be left in the dust.
So you've got these two guys, right? And on paper, they couldn't be more different. One's a billionaire real estate tycoon who came from wealth. The other is a millionaire author who started out middle class. But for this book, they came together with one single urgent message. And it all stems from a real concern they both share about where the economy is headed for the average person.
This is the question that kicks the whole thing off. It's so direct, it's personal, and it's designed to make you stop and really think about it. Is your own financial life actually getting better, or do you feel like you're just treading water? This one question really sets the stage for their pretty stark diagnosis of our modern economy.
Okay, so what is the big problem they're trying to shine a light on? They believe we're smack in the middle of a massive economic shift, a change so big it could threaten the stability of the entire system.
Here it is, their main assertion. The middle class, which was once the bedrock of the entire American economy, is disappearing. And it's not just shrinking a little bit. They argue it's being completely hollowed out. It's creating a society with just two classes, where the gap between the rich and everyone else just gets wider and wider every single day.
And to show this isn't just some fringe idea they came up with, they bring in the big guns. A quote from the former chairman of the Federal Reserve, Alan Greenspan. I mean, when a guy like that warns that this growing income gap could threaten the stability of the system itself, you know it's a serious concern at the highest levels of economic thinking.
So what's driving this huge divide? Well, the authors don't point the finger at politicians or one political party. Nope, they say it's a single systemic failure, a massive lack of financial education. They argue our schools do a great job of teaching us how to work for money, but they teach us absolutely nothing about how to make money work for us.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. They frame this whole thing as a pretty recent problem. The financial advice our parents and grandparents live by, they say it's not just outdated, it's dangerously obsolete. And to really get why, we have to look at just how much the world has changed.
The book's central argument is that a whole sequence of huge economic and technological shifts happened that just completely rewrote the rules of the money game. The playbook that worked in the industrial age is, in their opinion, totally useless in today's information age.
Let's just walk through this timeline because it's pretty wild when you see it all laid out. It all started back in 1971, when the US took the dollar off the gold standard. In their view, that's the moment saving money became a losing strategy because inflation just eats it away. Then, in 1974, the 401k comes along and quietly shifts the entire responsibility for retirement from the company to you. Fast forward to the 90s and 2000s with the internet and globalization, and suddenly all these stable white-collar jobs could be shipped anywhere in the world. Each of these events, they argue, was another nail in the coffin of that old-school financial advice.
And this brings all that history right back to you personally. The authors really force you to ask a tough question. In this new, fast-paced global economy, are your skills and your education still as valuable as they used to be?
And that leads right into their next big point, which really ramps up the sense of urgency. If the old rules don't work anymore, what about the old safety nets we all thought we could count on?
Trump and Kiyosaki are pretty blunt about this. They argue that the problems we're all facing now are just too big, too global for any one government to fix. The whole idea that you can just depend on the government to take care of you, they call that a dangerous fantasy. Essentially, you're on your own now.
I mean, just think about it for a second. The price of oil, the security of your job, your pension, your health care, all of these things are now directly impacted by huge global forces that are way beyond any single government's control. The author's point is that these are now your problems to figure out because those old safety nets just aren't there anymore.
So, if the safety nets are gone and the old rules don't work, how in the world are you supposed to navigate all this? Well, the authors say it all starts with understanding what kind of financial advice you're actually listening to.
This table is really the key to their whole argument. It breaks down the three totally different financial mindsets they see in the world. For the poor, the advice they get often creates a mindset of dependence. For the middle class, it's all about playing defense, get a safe job, save what you can, and invest not to lose. But for the rich, the game is completely different. It's all offense.
It's about creating assets, growing their income, and investing to win. That difference in mindset, they say, is everything.
Let's just boil it down to this one simple comparison, because this is the absolute core of it. Standard advice tells you to shrink your life to fit your paycheck, to live below your means. But the authors argue the rich do the exact opposite. They focus on how to expand their means so they can afford the life they actually want. It's a shift from managing scarcity to creating wealth.
So this brings us to their big solution. And I'll tell you right now, it is not what you might expect. It's not a list of hot stocks to buy or some kind of get-rich-quick plan. It's something way more fundamental.
And they are crystal clear about this. They're not here to tell you what to invest in. They're trying to fundamentally change how you see the entire world of money, business, and investing. The goal is to give you the vision, the mindset of an entrepreneur and an investor.
A huge concept for them is what they call transparency. And really, all that means is having the financial education to see an investment for what it truly is. Can you see through it? Do you understand all the hidden fees, all the risks, and exactly how it makes money? If you can't, then there's no transparency, and you're basically investing blind.
And they use mutual funds as a perfect example of this. So many people pour money into them because they're told it's safe and diversified. But the authors argue that these funds have all sorts of hidden fees and expenses that just chew away at your returns over time. And because the average investor hasn't been taught to look for this stuff, they just follow the advice, not realizing it might not be in their own best interest.
So at the end of the day, the goal of this book isn't to give you a checklist. It's to change your whole perspective. It's a call to arms, really, for you to take charge of your own financial education. So the final question they leave you with is this. After hearing these arguments, do you see the world of money, of risk, and of security any differently? And if you do, what are you going to do about it?